Good evening and welcome to the TDD show. This is our very first show, and what a way to start it with this evening's guest, Sean, the founder of Trussbuddy Tools. So this evening, myself and Sean will be discussing different topics, as in how Trussbuddy Tools started and several other things. Maybe even discussions on UFOs before Sean is found.
Oh, good man, Tony. You threw that there.
And welcome to
Good
the
evening, Tony.
to the show, buddy. How are
Thanks
you?
very much, mate. I'm good. How are you? Keeping well.
Good, mate. Thanks for coming on tonight.
No problem at all, Tony. You're a gentleman. I hope you're keeping well. And are you busy yourself?
Yes, mate. Yeah, very busy. Yourself?
Yeah, I'm busy enough, Tony. But actually, just coming off a bit of a family tragedy there. I don't know if I told you, I was chatting to you, but we lost a wee baby just on the 1st of January. Not to start off the show on a sour note, but just to fill you in what I've been doing. And family life has been a wee bit slower, business life a wee bit slower until we kick off again in a wee while. Just, get family life running up, which is most important first, as everybody knows, and then business next.
Yeah, family's always the most important, mate. So as long as you're happy and healthy, and now back in a better place now, hopefully. We send our condolences for your loss.
No, good man, Tony. Absolutely, thank you. What about yourself? Are you busy? Are you keeping well? Have you a good start to the new year?
Yes, mate. So yeah, we've work-wise, we're very, very busy. We've booked out for at least the next 6 months now, full time. But then obviously the same thing with the production side of things that we're trying to kickstart. So we're doing obviously trying to do some marketing side of things. We're trying to push that, social media as well. I said myself, I'm fairly new to it, mate. I haven't really got a clue what I'm doing.
Yeah. We're all new to it, Tony. I'm new to it myself. But like, little did I think that I'd be sitting in front of the camera talking about tools here myself. This time about a year and a half ago was crazy. And of course, absolutely. Of course, me and you met at the Building Careers Live, and with Big Tony from Build with A&E who was running, and that's where I first met you.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, so I said Tony himself from Build with A&E, he inspired me to do the YouTube and the social media. So once I met Tony himself and spoke to him several times about bits and bobs, and then I said, come up to Building Careers Live and met yourself and other amazing people that are doing the social media stuff. It was to me, it was like I want to jump in and join this amazing social family, basically, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what it is. Creating a community of like-minded individuals who are trying to help each other along in life. Give each other tips and hints, and basically point people in the right direction. And that's what it's all about. Young people, old people, anybody at all. I'm open to help anybody. And likewise, I'm looking for people to help me get my business off the ground. And as someone from me that hasn't got a massive marketing budget, and I'm only on a small fish in a massive pond, I'm trying to get the word out about what I'm doing. Obviously, organically, that's the way I'm going at the minute. It's all organic reach and through friends and through connections and that type of thing. So it's very important for me to help build a community and, take people along with me and, to get people like-minded individuals to buy into what I'm doing as well. So that's my ethos and my thought process.
Hopefully, coming on tonight will help you push now the reach about your products that you do, because myself, obviously, I have the BlackRock range myself. So let's get into it. And can you tell us, mate, how you started Trussbuddy Tools? How did it come from an idea to a business?
Yeah, well, absolutely. I'll give you the wee intro and a bit of a story and how it all began. Well, I'm a joiner myself. I left school when I was 16, and I served my time as a joiner. Mostly doing first and second fixed roof and roofing. Also spent some time doing shuttering work and also doing floor and wall tiling. So I'm a wee bit of a jack of all trades in that regard. I do all joinery work. I am still working on site, but albeit limited. Limited at the minute. It was just 1 or 2 days a week. I take construction safety courses where I work basically it's the equivalent to the CSCS course. I take the CSR card and every Saturday. I've been doing that for years. So that's sort of I keep my hand in, still stay on site and still do the construction safety courses. But in the meantime, that's about me. I'm 23 years at it. But about, how long ago was it? Probably about 8 or 9 years ago, probably that length of time, we come up with an idea about spreading roof trusses.
Yeah.
And we had one made by my uncle in a shed out of an old pole, like an old fishing type pole, and like a sturdier version of a fishing pole where you can for the net, that catches the net,
Yeah.
or catch the fish, and a telescopic version of it. And he put a hook at the end of it that I had designed and told him how to shape it out. This would go over a truss, and we called it a thrust. We called it a Trussbuddy.
Yeah.
So we said to ourselves, me and my father, we used it on sites, and the big turning point was I spread a roof one day on my own with a farmer and a plumber. And I said, I've definitely got something here. If I can spread a roof for these guys, get it braced, spread safely, very limited scaffolding. And I said, there's definitely a market that's here. So I got the Trussbuddy brought to life basically through, designers, grants from Invest NI here in Northern Ireland, and, a bit of my own money, quite a lot of my own money actually. And, I got it patented, and I got it brought to life, and just basically to work in prototype, to really, really good standard working prototype. And I used it, and I've done demonstration videos with it, and entered competitions with it here. In new invention competitions, done really well. Won prizes, won cash prizes as well with it. £1,000 here, a couple of £1,000 there, £5,000, different occasions. So there was an appetite for it. So I said, right, well, we'll try to get this taken further. So we did try to get it taken further. So we started to go to different type of engineering like firms that would potentially make it. And we brought it a couple here within Northern Ireland and South of Ireland. But they all come back with the same sort of figure. It needs to get tooled first off, as a brand new tool. You need to get machinery done, and it needs to be tooled, and moldings and injection moldings and 3Ds, all these different things that I had no idea about. And then it needs to be put into a run. And the minimum order run usually was coming around about £30,000 to £40,000 plus your machining. You're talking about another 20,000. So you're talking £60,000 just to have a lot of money, just to have it tooled and machined and run it and done. Never mind advertising. How am I going to advertise this? Where am I going to get it? Labeling, loads of things. You're probably going to run into about 90 to £100,000 by the time it was all done. So, but I said, right, this is a bit out of our reach. We did get it patented. It is fully patented yet with PCP and European and worldwide patent pending, and we have it all done. So I said, right, what else can we do here? In the meantime. And I said, right, COVID wasn't just started yet. So I said, right, let's scour the market to see if there's any tools out there that potentially, aren't really, that nobody's doing anything different here in Europe, basically, with them. So we looked abroad. We looked obviously in Canada and America and Australia, and we've seen that there was a big appetite for tool belts. And I'm a joiner myself, so something I knew a lot about. So let's start designing our own tool belts. So we designed a couple of our own tool belts, the Black Rock range and the Comet. And I says, listen, we want to tailor for two markets here. We want to tailor for the tool junkies, really expensive upmarket ones, and the middle of the road ones. And so we'll try to tailor for both. So we started off designing different colors, brands, different types, materials. Prototyping took a long time, nearly a year and a half. Prototyping was a long, tedious process, and eventually got to a stage like let's launch these here. Let's do a bit of a run. So with a bit of our own money and a bit of money from a loan as well from the bank, quite a lot of money to be honest with you, we launched our original range and our first range, and we said like our first range is obviously going to be middle of the road range, and then once if we find an appetite for that, we will then launch towards those tool junkies. We'll build from that. So that's what we did. We launched and we started to find an appetite for it straight away. Within the first week, we had an order for a set of braces, and they sold. They started to sell braces and different wee bits and pieces, and a lot of inquiries, all via social media. Something I had absolutely nothing about, knew nothing absolutely about. I got in contact. I got my wife Laura, who had a bit more of an insight into social media like Facebook and Instagram, to scour about to see if she could see anybody on Instagram that would potentially wear a tool belt. And she came back with me 3 names, and the names are irrelevant really who they are, but they're three good guys, and some of them with me still, some of them some of them still involved with, some of them I don't think are on Instagram anymore. It's about nearly 2 years ago. And so they started to wear the tool belt brands, and they understood from the perspective that I was in. I was one of them. I hadn't got a massive marketing budget. I hadn't any money to pay them. I still am in that position because I'm still continuing to reinvest in everything I make into new products, into the range, into just buying more bulk as well, which is just so that's where I've got. Basically, I've got this stage where now I'm starting to become more of a recognized brand. Now people are starting to get to know us, and my whole goal for this is to offer similar type setups and similar type brands that already exist in America and Canada and Australia. Fantastic brands, and I was never that sort of guy who would knock anyone else's brand. I love what they're doing, and I'm just doing something different, something similar to what they're doing, but my wee spin on it. That's really all it is. And so that's what I'm there to do. Try to offer the people of Europe and further afield a quality product at an affordable price, and that's my goal. So I'm built by one of their own, and that's my own
Did you
take
find
on it.
social media help you then to feel for a little bit of just to start your growth?
By Instagram, I felt. What do you mean? Oh yeah, some fantastic people out there just willing to repost, share, help you out. Then eventually I got another couple of guys on board. So now my main guys now are Danny from Madden Builders. He's Vol Hairtella. Alex Marriott Carpentry, Dave Melvin Enterprise, Sam Carpentry with Sam, and Ben Russell Carpentry. So that's 5 guys at the minute. We have people in the pipeline at the minute. We'll have other people, so it's not just going to be, someday maybe that can expand and grow even further. We've nobody in Ireland, we've nobody in Scotland, that sort of way. So there's always open avenues for other people to come on board. But we're looking out now for different markets as well, like possibly Canada and America and Australia,
Spread the word further afield.
Scandinavia. Yeah, to help the word get out there further afield. Absolutely, that's what we're trying to do at the minute.
Like I said, the 5 guys you've got on with you now are top lads, aren't they? And the work they do is amazing, and the content they do as well, especially Carpentry by Sam, is unreal. His stuff he does. Yeah,
the lads, them guys, you couldn't ask for better guys. And you know what? Regardless of of business, that they're genuinely are my friends as well. So, and as you know, we all run bar Ben. Like I'm part of a live Instagram chat and podcast that we do as well. You've been on it, Tony, as well already. We're called the Trussbuddies. So we're we do our own wee thing there. I'm responsible for Trace. So we're very grateful for that. Look, it's all good stuff. We're all moving in the right direction, and we're all helping each other out and promoting each other. Quite a lot of the guys work with a lot of high profile brands. I've been fortunate enough myself there recently just to be sent stuff to Snickers. I never thought that would happen, and these things happen. Yes, it's just so nice for it to, maybe they can see me as potentially something that's going to go somewhere. So so maybe want to get on board early.
Top lad as well, mate. You're such one of the genuine nice guys as well. Since I met you, you can see that you're a genuine bloke, and the work you've got within your Trussbuddy Tools is the quality is amazing. So people should be seeing that and hopefully pushing you further afield as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks very much. That's what it's all about. It's trying to get the word out there on a limited budget and limited. What we're doing here is like small family business. My grandfather and his father used to have, and his brother used to have a hardware store in Kilkeel, area I'm from. It was called McManus Hardware and building supplies. One of the first in our area in Kilkeel, and it actually went bust many years ago. So me and my father said, wouldn't it be brilliant to be able to replicate something like that and get it going again? And look, that's where we're at. We're not a bricks and mortar store at the minute. We do sell stuff out of a store here when we need to. But our ultimate goal would be to get like other brands on board and not just become a tool belt brand, become a brand. That's why it was always called Trussbuddy Tools.
Yeah.
So we can expand that. It's just not confined to tools.
Limited to belts.
Absolutely not. No, it's not. We want to be known for our belts. Obviously, it's Trussbuddy tool belts, but we also want to be known as Trussbuddy Tools. My ultimate goal is to have belts, and I have all these crazy ideas like fishing rods, freaking knives, crazy stuff. I'm big into camping as well. I love camping and I love the outdoors. So I would love to incorporate the outdoors into my product range some stage, other people's brands, other people's products, and that's my ultimate goal with it all. But I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it overnight, and it's just going to take time.
Those things, the growth takes time, doesn't it?
Yeah, it absolutely takes time. It's just goes everything in life. Sam's just I can't really buy Sam there. It's actually commented there. So good to see Sam. So, as you say, Sam's one of the best guys you can meet. So good to see Sam.
Thanks for watching, guys. Appreciate it.
Massive support. It's a big coup to get Sam on board. Sam was. I'm not going to mention any brands. He's not. Just loves tools. He's a tool junkie, and that's the biggest thing about him. He's obsessed with tools,
isn't it?
Yeah, he's one of those guys that's just obsessed with all tools. Like he's every tool under the sun, and I don't know how his wife Jess puts up with him. He probably spends a fortune in tools every month. He's fortunate enough now to be working with some fantastic brands like Makita as well. So he's very lucky in that regard too. All good guys, So all really good fellas, every one, and I'm associated with. That's the beauty of it. And
let's talk about, because it's every Thursday you do your live as well, isn't it? So let's talk about that. Yeah,
every Thursday we do our live, and what started off as Alex and myself on a live chat, basically just having a bit of banter, having a bit of crack, grew into something bigger. And it could only have grown that big through the help of Dave from Elwood Enterprises. Hoodies, bringing on sponsorships. Sam with his fantastic editing skills, like his editing skills are possibly the best, if not in Europe. In Europe, in social media, in my opinion. You've got Danny who does all the organising behind scenes, and you've got Alex. Alex is doing his bit too, organising things behind scenes too, where this could potentially go to as well with what we're doing. It's not just going to be confined to Thursday nights. We've got massive plans for it. So all the boys are doing their bit.
And listen, you've got a collective, decent mindset where you want to grow to. You've got goals you want to try and reach. It's what it's all about, isn't it?
Absolutely. I could never have, or me and Alex on our own could never have taken it that far. It had to be brought on as a collective, and and no one has ownership of anything. There was talk at the time we were going to change the name. It's called the Trust Buddies now, and I totally tried to distance myself from the Trust Buddy life to what I'm doing. It's it's obviously a play on words, and I'm grateful to the guys that kept my name on. But the thing is, I'm very grateful of them, but it's their thing, even more so than what it is mine, because these guys are all big social influencers here on this platform, and I'm only obviously a wee small fry with 6,000 followers, but they're the big some of the big players on here, and so they have the big draws and getting guests on, and people want to come on with them. So I'm just riding in their coattails, to be honest with you, and in that regard, to be honest. But I'm glad to be. I'm glad to be in with them.
At a time?
What, Tony? Yeah, two of us always come on at a time, so it's easy.
You have two guests as well, then, don't you?
Yeah, with always two guests. So this week I think it is Danny and Alex, possibly. I'm not too sure, or Danny and Sam. I'm not too sure. If some of them, I don't think Dave can do it. He's busy working, I think. But it's always good. I think they have two people on this week. One on from Australia, actually. So the girl on from Australia. It's going to be a first. So there's a girl on from Australia, and I'm not too sure who the other guest is. Danny does the organising. Who they are? So don't give too much away. Sorry, Alex. Alex doesn't give too much away. I'm not.
He's there with his
So not give too much away, but it is going really, really well. And listen, the guests love it. The big thing about our live is a lot of other people do lives, and a lot of
Yeah.
other people were doing lives, around the same time as us. The beauty of what we do is we like to make it a platform to everyone to showcase what they're all about. The wee guys and the big guys, like
That's what it's
some of
about,
the
isn't
big,
it?
yeah, like when we were first on it, I'll give you a prime example, and I'm not too sure. I think it was myself and Dave up possibly on with Phil from Driveways and Gardens. I always know Phil from Driveways and Gardens. I still call him Phil from Driveways and Gardens, but he's changed his name to a proper Yorkshire builder. Phil.
Oh yeah.
Everyone knows Phil, and but such a down to earth guy. Like Phil, possibly 80 or 90,000 followers, but Phil was still willing to come on. He's that sort of guy. But it's a platform for everybody to showcase what you're about, to help each other out, to build a community of like-minded individuals, to showcase their work, to showcase who they are behind scenes.
Mm-hmm.
And I think people understand that Instagram and social media is now an area where they can showcase what they're all about and showcase their business. And there's women sitting in their house and they're going, I love paneling, I'd love to get a panel. Is there anybody that's paneling in my area, And they're like, oh yeah, fucking Dave does it, Alex does it, or Danny, Sam, I'm just using our guy, Ben Russell. There's loads and loads of people out there that you can say, oh look, you're Nottingham, you can look up George or Dean. You're in, when you're in London, you can look up, Sam Edwards. That sort of ways. If you want a bit of Thailand done, take a wee look at Ben Broad from Broad Landscapes. That's the type of environment that is where you people.
It's a nice community, isn't there? That's the whole idea, which is nice about it. You can all talk to each other as well. Not even if you've not even met anyone, you can talk to them, ask them a question. Everyone's really inviting, which is the best thing about it all.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you say, no one needs to see each other face to face, but you know each other. So I've met, Dave's there, for example. I've actually stayed in Dave's house. I've been to Dave's house a couple of times. I've met Dave's wife. I've met his kids.
Yeah.
Such lovely people. I've had a Chinese with them and a couple of beers, and I was over in England there at a safety event in Birmingham as well, and they came to meet me. Okay, so we've become friends as well with all these guys. Alex was over in Dublin, and me and my wife met him and his wife, and we all went out together. And I was over in Birmingham and met up with Sam and met Danny in Birmingham, and Ben Russell. I met all these guys, all of them, any guy you can think about. Not just the guys that work with me and my brand and helped me. I've met so many other people through social media, and they're all nice people.
Well, that's the good thing about it, isn't it? Well, let's talk about this UFO stories then, mate. While we're on.
There's a lot of people now, I think, on social media associate me as the UFO guy because I get a lot of
series.
I would actually love a podcast on UFOs because I could go down the rabbit hole here with you, Tony, on UFOs if you really want me to. So, what do you know about UFOs first, Tony, and then I'll enlighten you. So what do you know about them, and what do you know anything about them, or do you what
really,
anything
mate?
at all? Are you a believer first before I hit the exit button on your program?
I do believe, mate. I do.
You do believe?
I do. Okay. I think I have seen one personally before.
Wait, but tell me what happened. I'd love to hear that.
So I was working with my dad at the time. We're driving on the way home, and there's a strange. I can't explain it. It's a weird shape just in the sky in the distance, and I was fixated on it. So I was just staring at it the whole time. Yeah. And all of a sudden, within a split second, it was from here, and I'm talking 20 miles away. Within a split second, it was just gone down. It was just floating down that end.
Wow! So here, I
was like, "What's this about?"
Yeah, that's definitely UAP. Tony, they don't call them UFOs anymore. It's UAP. I've always been big into UFOs. Like people would tell you, from around home, friends of mine, stuff. Something I've always had an interest in. Like I've watched the X-Files, every episode of the X-Files when I was growing up. I was a Mulder and Scully fan. I love the stars, telescopes, looking at the stars. I've just always had that interest. I love Egyptology. I love, Sam definitely joined me in that one. He loves UFOs. Sam, can't remember, Sam actually
Yeah.
loves UFOs as well. He's big into them as well, believe it or not. I'm into all that type of stuff. Like, I listen to quite a lot of podcasts as well. To like somebody says, well, this conversation escalated quickly. Okay, so that's a good one. Perfect point. Bob Lazar and Joe Rogan. You'll definitely lose your mind in that one. You have to listen to the Bob. Have you ever heard tell of Bob Lazar, Tony? No. Tony, where have you been living? Seriously. Where have you been living?
Down now, mate. Bob Blazer's coming in a minute.
I'll tell you a wee bit about Bob Lazar and you can watch it, okay? So Bob Lazar is a guy and he lives near Nevada, okay? And he worked on a base. He said he worked on a base called Los Alamos, okay? So it's an area close to Area 51, okay? It's not Area 51 like everyone thinks about. And basically what happened, he said he worked in this area, okay? And what happened? Sorry, I have a cough. He worked in this area, and he said he got to reverse engineer alien spacecraft. Okay, so he was taken in here. He was given this job because he was able to put jet rockets and engines on cars that nobody else was able to do around this time. He was seen as like a brilliant mind, and he wasn't like one of the best minds in the world, but he was able to reverse engineer things and do things. So he was brought in to work in this place, and he was only given small tasks to do. He wasn't given the overall picture. Flat Earth episode. Yes, definitely. I'm not a flat earther, but I do believe man hasn't been to the moon. If you want to touch on that one as well, so definitely don't believe that one. And so basically, what happens? He was reverse engineering this technology, and he said they seen when he was there 6 other spaceships of different types. Never seen no aliens. He doesn't believe he's seen any aliens. Different types, and he believes the government have had these in their possession for years and years, hundreds of years, and they only give people from industry small snippets of the work on them. He believes that that's just where touchscreen technology came from, fingerprint bone scanning. Loads and loads of our new technologies come from this through reverse engineering. These things have either crashed here or they've been dug up. Quite a lot of them he believes have been dug up as well. But he also believes, so he basically was his wife started cheating on him, and his wife was cheating on him, and the government found this out through phone calls. So basically they took him in and said, listen, your wife's cheating on you. They had to break it to him. He went a wee bit mad, so he started to take friends out. What?
He's having an affair with Margaret the alien.
Do you think? So he wasn't having an affair with aliens. So she basically said, come on out to the Nevada desert. He took his friends out, and they basically seen these things been test run by the government in the sky. So this was happening. He's basically caught out what he was doing, showing people, and he's basically told, right, we can't work here anymore. He went to a fella called George Knapp, who's like he's been like one of these off-the-cuff reporters, and George Knapp reported this and put it out on the TV. It went worldwide, it went global. There was a guy here. This actually went global all over the world at the time. It's massive worldwide news, massive publicity about it. And then basically, that's why he wasn't killed, basically. So it basically, lost technology, Sean, can't be done again. It's not lost time. Basically, what happened is he lost his job, and he's still stuck to the exact same story. He's been on Joe Rogan, he's been in loads of different things. He has his own, program on Netflix called Bob Lazar Area 51, but he's stuck the same story since this happened to him 30 years ago. And it's quite coincidental that this all happened out near Roswell as well. You know what I mean? I'm a big believer that Roswell did happen, and the government just quickly cleaned it up, tidied it up, because listen, regardless if you believe in your religious affiliation or background at all, that's here nor there to me. If people were told tomorrow morning that there was UFOs and UFOs crashed here and they've been here and have them here, it would just totally question everything in mankind. People wouldn't be able to fathom it. They'll be like, what's this guy? What's happening now? The world as you know it would totally change. So the government had to keep it under wraps, and so there's loads and loads of other things I could tell you about. I want to briefly touch on one before we move on to a different topic here. I know I could eat up a lot of your time here, Tony. One more thing you should watch. I know Sam's watched it as well. It would be there's a guy called Lieutenant Fravor. He's also been on Joe Rogan podcast. If you look him up, he was a Navy pilot. He flew fighter jets. Fighter jets. And he was like a captain in the Navy. And he said they were told these basically objects had been seen out of about maybe 50 or 60 mile away from where they're the USS Nimitz. It's called. Yeah, so it says fighter jet. It's like a ship for fighter jets to land on. USS Nimitz. It's called. They flew out to the cap point, basically where they were told to go to, where these sightings were at, and they started to fly. They could see this white Tic Tac shaped object just down below the surface near the water. So they started to circle around it, got down lower and lower. This thing started to circle up towards them. As they were coming down, it started to mirror what they were doing, and it flew back up again, and it started coming down towards them. They were really close to each other, and then it zipped off, and it was gone. And it was a white, long, elongated, elongated Tic Tac shape. So they couldn't understand what it was. And they went back and they radioed and they said, yes, we've seen these things before. And people were saying, look, this guy's crazy. But he says, listen, I've had psychoanalysis tests done on me. He says, you're not allowed to fly fighter jets worth 50 to 60 million pounds if you're nuts. You know what I mean? So that's my one and that one. But I could go on forever. Like I've so many things to talk to you about, I could talk to you about Egypt. I could talk to you about another fantastic guy that I'm big into is called Graham Hancock, and he's big into Egyptology, and he's wrote a book called The Fingerprints of the Gods, where he talks about basically there was lost civilization here before with really higher intelligence, but it was all wiped out when the asteroids hit. And some people don't believe asteroids hit, but there's signs of water, signs of it all over the world. A place called Göbekli Tepe, and where there's basically they've unearthed this place, and there's ruins which outdate any ruins they found in the world about 20 to 30,000 years. There's signs of water erosion in the Great Pyramids. Like this, all great stuff. It's fantastic to listen to, and like if I had my own podcast, that's the people I'd be getting on. You know what I mean? I love the construction podcast to do with my own friends, my own lads. But I would love also, and it's actually funny enough, who was saying that to the other day? I don't know who was saying it to. I would love to ultimately have Trussbuddy Tools as a business. This is my ultimate goal, set up as a business. And basically, I still like to be involved, have my hands involved, but be able to do the things I enjoy in life, like a podcast and all those things that I talked about, camping. I like hunting, I like the outdoors, I like crazy stuff like that. That's ultimately.
You do cold water swimming, don't you, all the time?
Oh, I swim every day as well. I took a wee bit of a backward step because of what happened in my home life since Christmas. So I haven't really been swimming since Christmas, but I've been taking cold baths to keep myself climatized. So if you stop it, you're basically screwed. So every night before bed, fill the bath up with freezing cold water and you get into it. So if anyone listening wants to send me a free water tub, you're more than welcome to send it to Ireland. Any of those big brands, Lumi or some of those ones, you can send me one.
Maybe aliens can come off you as well.
Have you ever tried it? No, getting into the water, no?
Have
you ever tried getting into cold water exposure, no?
No, I'll have a cold shower, freezing cold shower, but I won't go into the sea.
You should, why not?
It's only 5 minutes away from me as well.
What's that Dean saying? It's like the solar system, our minds aren't big enough anymore to understand. Absolutely. That's the thing about the solar system. Like, you see every time you look at the stars in the sky, right? You look at a star in the sky, so people don't understand. You put every one of those stars, like a grain of sand, at every beach in the world, all over the world is a grain of sand. That's how many stars there are. and more. There's galaxies and galaxies and galaxies and galaxies. You know what I mean? It's just never ending. For people to think we're the only place, you know, in the world is, you know, they're crazy. Like, you know what I mean? There's definitely, you know,
I think
and
it's because they're easily led on. So the government telling one thing over here, they call it like the magic trick. What else is going on over here, isn't it? That's what it is.
Smoke screens. It's smoke screens. You know, they tell you this is what's happening. That's why at the minute, okay, that's why at the minute, I don't know if you know what's happening. The government are releasing stuff at the minute. Okay, so I need to put my phone charger in here, Tony. If you don't mind, something to, give me 2 seconds.
Sorry, guys, the aliens and the government are draining his battery to try and get him off this podcast. Well, I hope you're all enjoying it so far anyway. You know, nice to see you adding into the comments as well.
Just going to say, guys, so you got about 20-something viewers earlier, so it seems to be going really well. We appreciate all of you for commenting. It's been going really, really well so far. Do remember, ask any questions you want in the comments, and I'll feed it through to the guys on this live stream.
Make sure, if you haven't already as well, check Trussbuddy's out on Instagram, so Trussbuddy Tools, okay, on Instagram. He's also on LinkedIn as well, so make sure you go head over there, check him out. I said his tool belts are amazing. I have them myself. Are you back now, mate?
That's me back now, Tony. I was down to 2% there. I was quite lucky I didn't get cut off. Make sure I'm turned on. Yeah, I'm turned on. Yeah, it's charging here. Hopefully.
Well, let's go back to the Trussbuddy Tools then, mate. So what's your
I've 1%. I've 1% here, Tony. I don't know what's happening with the thing. I hope I'm not going to lose you or anything. I have my stuff plugged in. That's all we need, Tony.
Yeah, it's still there, mate. About it.
No, hopefully, Sam, nobody's hijacked it. I hope I don't lose you. But it's back up to 2%. Hopefully, it keeps going back up again. What were you saying, Tony? What were you going to ask me?
I was just going to say, mate, talking about what's your biggest aim for Trussbuddy Tools? So you've got a big goal that you want to try and reach?
Yeah, ultimately, I'd love to become the largest tool belt brand in Europe, and possibly, why not, you know, as big as the world as any of the rest of them. You know, Acrobus, Diamondback, you know, Buckaroo, who've got Occidental, they're the big guys, the big hitters, Badger as well. And listen, I'm just doing the exact same thing they are. Like, we're all making tool belts. They're all slots for pencils and tapes and squares. That's all they are. Some people become brand loyal. Some people become a wee bit hung up and like, you know, oh, you're doing something similar to somebody else. We're all doing something similar to each other. That's all it basically is. Nobody owns a tool belt. It's just, they started life as a leather apron for blacksmiths, and now it's a tool belt for people in construction sites. We're all doing similar things. I've just offering my slant on it and my sway on it. I'm trying to get a product range that is affordable and hard wearing and sustainable, and you know, different slants and different, you know, ideas on it. And I've definitely got a fantastic, probably about 8 new products coming out in the next couple of months. It took a wee bit of a backward step due to, you know, to family life, and took a wee bit of a backward step. Everything in my life has for a month there, basically, trying to help out at home. And, you know, but we're going to get the ball rolling again on that very soon and keep things moving forward.
You're doing really, really good. You've also got top lads on with you at the minute, which are going to help you push it. You can't ask for any more. You can't push it any quicker, can you? So
no, that's it. Absolutely not. And listen, it's all organic reach. Listen, I haven't spent 5p on advertising, not one bit. You know, so it's all just through friends, helping, word of mouth, good people, basically. Listen, you get a lot of people in the world who wouldn't want to help you out, and I'm extremely. You know, you get that everywhere in life, and the naysayers and people don't really. I've genuinely met some of the best people you could meet, and I could drink a pint with them anywhere in the world. That's the truth. I could, you know, that sort of people, you know, down to earth. You know, the beauty about what I always find that I've done, you know, with my brand, and what probably, you know, warms people possibly, you know, to me and what I'm doing is I'm one of their own. You know, I've stood in the gutters. I've stood in with welly boots on, or soaking, you know, doing shuttering walls and on roofs getting soaked and the rain running down my backside. I've got shouted at. I've come into work hungover and dying, maybe with 2 hours sleep and laying in the back of the van sleeping on the way down the road. I had my shoelaces tied to chainsaws and got out of the van and pulling out after me. I had all the crazy things done to me, and listen, I'm one of their own. That's the beauty about it. And you know, I think that's why people more can affiliate possibly with what I'm doing, because I am just like them. That's the beauty of it. Okay.
Yeah.
What color? The big question, Sean, we want to know is what color power tools? Oh, what color power tools? There's a lot of questions with that one all the time floating about social media, isn't there? You know, I probably tend, which I've always have done, is to sway towards more Makita, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Listen, I've got a trend router off Sam there. Actually, bought it off Sam, currently with Sam, because I needed a new one. Actually, simply his old one. He's more of a Makita man, and I do like Makita myself. I actually got myself a new Makita grinder there. I'm going to do tiling as well. But I'm not really brand loyal, to be honest with you. So if any brands are listening, I'm not brand loyal. We sell them all in Trussbuddy Tools. You know, if it ever comes an opportunity for me to sell power tools, I'll be selling all power tools. There's some fantastic, you know, tool brands on here already selling power tools, like, you know, already. Like I'm going very soon in the coming weeks to see Monster Power Tools, and they're a brand actually not too far away from me, and some lovely guys, and we want to do something together. And I'm not in a position to stock products in their store because we aren't big enough yet, and you know, just to overheads and different things. It works best to sell online predominantly in a minute, but it's something we do want to look into getting into stores. You know, but it's going to take time.
You can't just rush ahead, go into it full steam ahead.
Absolutely not, because then you're these big firms that you're going to be selling into, you know, they'll all be looking things that, you know, I don't know, the price to be looking at them will be, you know, a lot lower than the minute than I can do, because, you know, I'm not having as much stock probably is the big thing. The stock levels wouldn't be as big to offer this to the bigger firms. But here, hopefully we'll be able to get there. That's the big thing. It was a diplomatic answer, no thanks. Sorry for that there. Sorry, wasn't probably. Okay, so what about you? Anything else, Tony?
I was always a Makita man, and then I started swaying over to DeWalt.
Oh, DeWalt? Why?
Because at the time when they had the flex-volt batteries, I thought the batteries were just second to none compared to the Makita batteries. And Makita, I felt at that stage, were very stagnant and they weren't growing as much as DeWalt. The tools that DeWalt were offering at the time, so I started creeping over to DeWalt, and then I slowly added DeWalt, but still got Makita, so I've got both.
Oh, that's good. You've got both. I think a lot of people, when they come back, see, when I first started out working, like, you know, my very first battery drill was a DeWalt drill. And then I was working for a guy, and we were doing then timber frames for a long time, and he was buying Hilti, everything Hilti, and I loved Hilti. Hilti was so robust, it was strong, sturdy. Not that you couldn't break Hilti. Like, see Hilti cordlesses, drills, you know, impact, you know, obviously fucking Hilti guns. You couldn't bloody break them, but they were brilliant things. So solid, but they were so expensive. They were never really, you know, if you were going to buy something Hilti, or hundreds and hundreds of pounds. You know, so I think that put a lot of people off, the working man off a lot of Hilti stuff for a long time, didn't it? You know, the price of it. What's they say? Disney DeWalt. Here, is that a friend of yours?
Yeah, that's James EA, works with us.
There is a 40-volt Makita range out there at the minute as well. And I know a good friend of mine actually, you know, advertises for them, and it's, you know, works for them as well.
I know that's where I saw his content on the 40-volt stuff, Sam. Your content on that was unreal.
Yeah, it's very, very good. It's his way of doing it. It's his way of doing it too, though. Anybody else could be looking at that, like, Makita stuff, and I could be showcasing it, and it would never be done as well. Sam is a unique spin on it. It's, you know, it's the way his mind works. I'm not too sure. You know, he inspired me to do that, actually, the green screen video that so basically Sam was the master behind it. Who is George?
George.
Oh, good man. From GM Joinery, is it? George.
George from GM Joinery. Oh
Oh,
yeah.
very good. George, I like your van. George got a lovely new van.
Yes.
So
Yes. You get that handwritten and stuff, isn't he?
yeah, lovely new van. I've seen it on one of his posts, and it's also got Snickers trousers. So you know,
Eating
so
Snickers
that's
as
the
well.
kicker. Are you busy yourself, Tony? Do you like you take on all contracts? Do you? You do like from
Yeah.
fittings right to the roof? Do you everything?
Yeah. So we do the whole project from start to finish, except for electrical and plumbing that we subcontract in.
Oh, very good. I thought you're very like the guy I actually work for on a freelance basis, obviously, and you know, self-employed, and when you work from an odd time. But big shout out to Precise Contracts, Connor, if you're listening. He's a good friend of mine. Great guy, great firm, going from strength to strength. We do a bit of everything. Some days I could be driving a telehandler for them. Some days I could be tiling for them. Some days I could be hanging a door for them, roofing, studding, whatever. You know,
It's lots of
hitting
different
in.
trades, isn't it? That's what I like.
Yeah, I was never always that way. I was always only ever joinery work. Like, you know, I had a maintenance contract for two big, you know, government buildings. You know, like listed buildings for a couple of years as well, which kept me busy with them for a long time. Where I mean, like doing it's all lovely, some of it lovely finished work all the time. I was doing that for a long time, but then I just started to work for them. I was, you know, over the past couple of years, a day here or there, and really enjoyed it. You know, so doing a bit of everything I found actually far more enjoyable this past while. You know, but I've actually saying to
What other
him,
trade would you prefer to do then? If you weren't a joiner, what other trade would you prefer to do?
probably I can tile as well. So I've done a bit of floor and wall tiling. I can tile quite decent enough, but I wouldn't make a living out of it because I'm too slow. Probably I wouldn't be. If you had me in time work, I'm dead on. Price work, not so bad. You know, but possibly I don't know. Uh, Let me think. What would I do? Well, let me think. Plastering, possibly.
Yeah.
You know, because my brother-in-law's a plasterer, and you know, I can do a wee bit of plastering. You know, a wee bit of him. You know, he's taught me things over the years. I can do a bit of bonding. I can do a wee bit. I can sand and cement. I can rub up. I can do bits and pieces of that. He would have to come in behind me, like, you know, I rubbed up. Yeah, I've rubbed things up before, and I've plastered things before, and if he's there, he's plastering away at something else. I'm doing something. He'll come in with a sponge and just give it that wee, you know, just that wee finish where I could never have got it out, just be perfect finish. Just obviously through his experience levels and his time at it. That's the difference.
That's how I learned loads of different trades. Obviously, when you start on your own and you're waiting for other people to do stuff, half the time you're thinking, I haven't got time to wait here, so I'm just going to crack on. You do it yourself, and you slowly start progressing. You start picking up other trades, and that's how you learn how to do everything else, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. That's how you learn. And you see, the thing is too, I see a lot of guys here on Instagram really good multi-trades, really, really good. I'm not going to name them all here because there's some of them shit hot, but you know, can absolutely do loads of stuff. They can tile, they can do joinery work, they can do plumbing, they can do sparking, they can fit kitchens, they can do roofs. I'm like, fucking hell, these guys can do everything. Do more, loads more things than I could do. I couldn't, like, I possibly could, like, you know, I've done them before years ago, fit kitchens, like, you know, we basic kitchens, but I couldn't do kitchens to the level that some of the guys on here do, just couldn't do it. You know what I mean? Just, that's life, isn't it? I suppose.
That's probably one of my pet hates doing kitchens.
Is it? Yeah.
Yeah, just I don't know why. It's one of those jobs that just really irritates me.
Yeah, there would be.
Just kitchens are so finicky after a while. The little bits and it's so time consuming.
Yeah. Okay. So some good guys on there. That's the truth. What do you think, Tony? Yourself, what's the future for yourself then?
So for ourselves, we've got a lot of potential stuff in the pipeline.
And what's your game plan with social media then?
Basically, just showing it up. So locally, trying to show our work to try and secure more work. Basically, show what we can do. Shows people in the inside of the company how we work, how we run our stuff. And and then just basically sometimes you see other people that have got tips of how they do things, and you think, well, that's good because I do it this way, and then you show your perspective on how you do something as well. That's what I like about the whole community of watching other people's content, because then you're taking in little snippets from other people, add it to your work, and then it's just, that's what I like about it. And you're growing yourself as well.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. No,
Main
that's
thing
good. Yeah, you.
is the biggest thing for us now is trying to get the youth into the industry.
Right. Okay.
So
Good
that's
man.
our
Absolutely.
biggest thing now. So I'm in talks with our local colleges and stuff like that. So we're trying to, try and get the youth into the industry, try and make it, because I don't know what's like for you, mate, but for us down here, it's really, really hard. There's not much youth coming into the industry, stuff like that. Trying to get new youngsters in, it's not happening.
I taught woodwork for a couple of years in a local training centre. I'm here back 14 years ago. Just basically during the recession, just not far, probably around the time of the recession, and that was the only reason it took me to it, to be honest with you, because I wasn't a 30-year man going to work in the training centre, which I believe possibly should be that type of age bracket. I'm not putting off anybody else doing it, but I was probably had about say 12, 13 years done at that time, maybe over more. And I was like probably about 10 years ago, so about 13 years done. And this experience is enough. But I went to a training centre and I was teaching young guys, 15, 16-year-olds, had no interest being there. Like, that's the big thing. Some of them, some real good people, I'm not knocking all young people, but guys just running skill saws through benches and just breaking things. And
that's it. They don't care. They don't want to be there.
Yeah, like I give you a funny story. Like it wasn't so funny for me, but I was in Lisburn Tech, so you would never heard tell of this place here, and the instructor sent me my head instructor. He sent me down to one of one of the old training centres. Okay, and we were going to strip it out of all door frames. We were going to strip it out of all the workbenches and bring them up to this new campus. So he sent me down with my 15 lads from my course. We were going to strip out things and then bring them all back up. We're going to bring them back up in minibuses, right? And we're stripping all these things out. He sent me another 30 down. He gave me a phone call, Sean, I'm going to need to send you another 30 down, right? I says, right. I says, this is a bit much here, 15 down, so it's 30. And next thing you know, and these guys were ready. The 15 that I had were ready delinquents, like ready clean bonkers, like, not wise in the head. Sent me another 15 down. And then mistake was made. Someone from the secretary or something sent me another 15 down, and 45 young people in it. It was something out of Lord of the Flies. I had people blowing cigarette smoke in the face. I had fire extinguishers been set up all over the place. Fires lit, fire brigade came, holes in walls, people smashing, those tube lighting.
Like the flashing tubes.
Flashing tubes, smashing them over each other's heads. I walked through the corridor and a bookshelf, which probably weighed about 100 kilograms, 200, came smashing down from 2 stories above, smashed in the foyer. This is the building that people had just left, smashed. Holes in walls that you could walk through. I mean, this was in the space of half an hour. The place was decimated. And I just basically had to ring the guy, said, I've lost control down here. I says, you make it down here. I lost control. I'm not going to say I'd lost total control. The place was chaos, mayhem. It was something I only went home to my wife, Laura. Probably wasn't married at the time. I wasn't married at the time. I went home and told her the story. And I said, you couldn't understand this. I says, it was something out of a movie. It genuinely was something out of a movie with the chaos and the mayhem that was going on. Every room you went into, they were doing something different, burning things, setting fires like in a building, and cutting holes through walls with recip saws and walking through from one room to the next.
No reason as well.
It's just crazy. You know what I mean? But I'm not blaming all the youth, but that got me to a stage where I was like, yeah, this isn't for me, this type of job. So I left. I
think most people pack it in after that.
I didn't pack it in exactly after that, but I just said to the guy, I didn't even make it, that long in it, about a year and a half, near 2 years, and it's just like, that'll do me, so I left it. So that's the crack, that one.
Oh, I don't blame you at all, mate. So what do you reckon? What's your thoughts on the biggest things you see in the future of construction as well then?
The biggest thing that we should see in the future of
Yeah,
construction.
so the biggest change that you might see, you might think that might come in the future.
It should
Or
come
something
in.
that might come in to make the construction industry more interesting, or
That's a good question. It's a hard one now to answer that.
bring back the alien
Often,
technology. Easy.
I thought possibly, always thought, better possibly welfare facilities, possibly on small building sites. I know all small contractors can't do that, but, I don't even know, even possibly, I know there's a lot of self-employed people out there make a lot more money self-employed than they do on the cards, but possibly more government, ways of looking after people in the construction industry. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like not having big contractors. Like, this was something that always annoyed me, right? And there's nothing wrong with it, but people, businessmen, and they can't do it. But this is probably alienate me from people saying this, but businessmen getting into building, the building game, and not having their feet in the ground, not having an understanding of the men, and then treating the men like shit, which always annoyed me. You know what I mean? And just because you have money and you're able now to become this building contractor, and you're building houses because it is an avenue to make a hell of a lot of money. Don't treat people like shit when you're doing it. That's something that always annoyed me. And putting working class families, maybe working class building site men, cramming them into small homes has always annoyed me as well. A man maybe buying a house for £150,000, an extremely expensive house, cramming them into small houses, cramming them into. Listen, my own house isn't big. I'm only saying cramming men into, even them coming from a building site environment themselves, and then just taking advantage. Not even giving people gardens anymore. What really annoys me, eating up every bit of space. Not even giving children a garden to play in. You know what I mean? Annoys me. Things like that annoy me. And I always think, there should be government regulations laid out to say, if you're building a site of houses here, leave, at least you're not building, you're building 2 less houses from now on, and you're giving children a garden. You're giving children a garden to play in. That's my thought process in that one. I think that should be something. Always annoyed me that we kids didn't know where to play in. You know what I mean? Things like that.
Just want some robots.
And I think I've seen robots doing work in Japan. They're doing site work, but it's a long way off. You're talking a long, long way off. The maintenance of those robots, you've got, the price of them. You're talking over 100. You're 100 years.
Feeding it.
What's that?
You have a robot building the blockwork of a house or whatever, or the brickwork. So you've got that set up, but you need 4 or 5 blokes feeding the machine.
Yeah, it's a long way off. Yeah, it's a long way off. Yeah.
All right, mate. Well, thank you very much for coming on tonight. It's been much appreciated, and hope everyone that has enjoyed it for our very first show. But make sure, like I said, everyone, if you check Sean out on Trussbuddy Tools on Instagram or LinkedIn, you on Facebook as well, mate?
Yeah. Business Trussbuddy Tools is on both.
Perfect. So if everyone subscribes to TDD Construction on YouTube, this video will be playable back on our YouTube, and it will be on our LinkedIn as well. But for the future, if you are subscribed to our channel, you will be notified an hour before the next live episode comes out. So next Wednesday. All right. So next Wednesday, we've got another guest. We will not reveal it yet until closer to the time. But thank you very much for everyone joining tonight. And thank you very much for Sean. He has just vanished.
Cut off there, Tony.
There he is. Well, buddy.
All the best, Tony. It's lovely. Thanks for having me on.
Sean, before you go, one last thing, mate. Can you leave a question that you want next week's guest to answer? It could be anything you want. Funny, construction related, anything you want.
Question for next week's guest. Who really built the pyramids? That's what I want to know.
Yeah.
Who do you really think, and how would they built you from the construction industry? How do you think they took a 50-ton stone in the middle of the desert? Okay, 50-ton stones in the middle of the desert, have it aligned through north. The desert where there's no food, no water, okay, and took millions of people into the desert, which wasn't near any civilization, and started to build pyramids for no reason. What was the reason for it? Why did they do it? And how did they do it? And it's the only structure, one of the only 2 structures in the world is aligned through north. Okay, how did they do that? Okay, hunter-gatherers were able to do this. You know, where did they get the food? Where did they get the food from in the desert? Where did they get the water from in the desert? Where did they get all these things? That's it.
That's a great question, mate. Well, enjoy the rest of your week, buddy, and I'll speak to you soon, all right?
Check out Trussbuddy Tools. We do have some great discount if you drop me a DM if you're looking for our Black Rock range.
Tomorrow as well. Check out Trussbuddy Live tomorrow, guys, on Instagram, all right?
Any of your guys need a tool belt, Tony, give me a shout. Chat to you soon.
Take care, Sean.
Good night, mate. Bye-bye.
Cheers.